All right, thank you so much, Caroline Okunjo, there for that special report talking about domestic violence. Is an issue in our country, is an issue in our homes, and we should try as much as possible to, to go against it. Because situations where you see husbands beat up wives, boyfriends beat up girlfriends, and at times parents too beat up, children in ways that is really not good. It doesn't tell well of us, for people, and most especially that we are also trying to, recognize. We're also trying to be recognized as one of the most, developed countries, one of the most improved countries. When we say improved now, we're talking about way of life and all that. So if you are one of those that still perpetuates domestic violence, please try as much as possible to stop it. Well, I did tell you that on our discussion segment today, we're going to be looking at two key issues, talking about PMB's administration, the second term, and the first term is still on, but just about some few weeks from now, to be precise, on the 29th day of May 2019, this first term would have come to an end. And it is believed that on that day, the president is going to dissolve the cabinet, and what follows after that is going to be a new government, a new term, a second term that is going to come on board, and a new cabinet is going to be set up. Now, when we talk about cabinet in presidential system of governments, you do know that the ministers are those group of people that they are so important. Their roles are so important. I just wonder what a presidential cabinet will look like if we don't have the ministers. Well, for most Nigerians, they are so concerned because for them, the experience that they went through in the first term, when it took almost about a whole 6 months before the president, could come with the cabinet. For them, they really don't want it to be repeated in the second term. Well, the president also explained that they really needed to put things in order to make sure that they get best hands. But for most Nigerians, it's really something that they don't like. Even at that, the most concern of Nigerians is to see that when we have these ministers that are going to come in the second term, there should be people that should come and answer so many questions. In other words, there should be square pegs and square holes, not having square pegs in round holes. For them, they really don't want it that way. Now, we're going to be setting an agenda here, most especially for the presidency, so that we'll begin to enumerate, factors that we ensure that we have the right people, as ministers in this second term. Well, to discuss this morning, we are so privileged to have Dr. Mrs. Stella Omonigo. She's a lecturer with University of Benin here in Benin, and also a human rights activist. Madam, you're welcome to this program this morning on our TV.
Thank you, Mr. Evans.
Yeah, we also have Mr. Asamota here with us, Mr. Isaac Asamota. He's actually a security expert, but this thing is public issue, so he's going to be, bearing his mind on some of the questions that we're going to be looking at. Gentle lady and gentlemen, you're welcome to the program. All right, just like what I said, that any moment from now, we're going to have the dissolution of the first, cabinet that brings to an end the first term. So the second term is going to start in earnest by 29th day of May 2019. So as we begin to look at factors that could, that will really bring about the cabinet, where do we start from? Which factors do you think should be uppermost to the presidency? I'll start with you, Madam.
Thank you, and good morning, viewers at home. I would like to say that the first thing is for the government to be proactive, to start trying to set up a cabinet and looking out for people, the right set of people to fill in the right set of offices. Now, let me refer back to this present cabinet. I tried to look at the present ministers and their offices, and I found out that most of them didn't have anything to do with their profession. You have the Minister of Youth and Sports, for example, who was a prison warder. and then now made Minister of Sports. It had got nothing to do with sports at all.
But you can't say so, because at
you know,
that position, of a minister, it's actually more or less like a managerial position.
Don't worry, I was getting somewhere. Even when you're going for a managerial position that you have to be appointed, you must go through trainings, and it must have something to do with your field for you to get optimum results. Now, going back to what I was trying to say, from what the way they've performed so far, we could see that we had a lot of lapses. So one would expect that the government will now be more proactive in looking outside and checking for people for various offices who have related opinions, who have related ideas about what these offices are all about. For example, if you bring somebody who is not a graduate into to be a minister of education, what do you think will be the fate of education in the country? Or you want somebody to be the minister of external affairs who does not have maybe more than one international language spoken? There's going to be a problem. Those are the areas they should look at. Qualities, what are the things that will fit, that will qualify this person to this office, is very, very important. And I would like also to say that it shouldn't be a kind of ethnic affair. Because when you also look at the components of this cabinet, this present cabinet, you find out that it's more of ethnicity.
But that may not be true, because we have about 36 ministers,
yes,
and
in fact, right here I have
all
the
the
list.
states, almost all the 36 states, and even including the FCT, they have at least a minister.
You know, I think you should go into the current list. I have the list right here. If you could view it,
okay.
I've been going through it, and 90% of this list, it's not like that. Ideally, you've just referred to the ideal situation where each state is supposed to have a minister. But we now have a situation whereby a minister is controlling 2 federal ministries, and we have 24 federal ministries. And we have 36 states. You see that it will not fit in. And by the time you are having a particular ethnic group, having more than 20 or let's just say 15 ministers, there's a problem. So I feel that there should be a kind of equilibrium. It should go round, you know, not talking about ethnicity, but talking about focusing on people who can deliver. You know, you and I know that it is not deniable. It's not a deniable fact that Nigeria is in a mess now. Right now, and we need ministers.
I want to let you say that. You can say no. You can say Nigeria is in a mess.
That's my opinion.
If Nigeria is in a mess, you would not have been able to come here today.
That's my opinion, and I'm speaking to you as a Nigerian, and I'm telling you that the country is sick, and we need ministers who will come and do something to rectify the problems of this country. And I think that is what the government should be looking out for right now, looking for people, irrespective of their political affiliation, irrespective of their ethnic affiliation or religious affiliation. Look for people who are credible and who are willing to do the work, and not talking about personal gratification, not talking about money that they are going to put in their pockets. Because I think the whole thing about this ministerial position is about lobbying now. Everybody is lobbying. If I were Buhari, I will not look for people who are lobbying for positions, but we seek out individuals who are not even known in the society, but who are known to be credible people, people who are willing to work, and people who are ready to deliver Nigeria.
Yeah, that's the question.
Mess.
So how do you think he's going to do that?
Yes, he has special advisors. I know that Buhari may not know a lot of persons. And then they say we are working in a democratic country, for crying out loud. How are other countries doing it, and how are they getting their ministers? You should make it known. Let the position be made known to everybody. Let people apply if possible. Let people recommend if possible. Not recommend based on the fact that I know you, you are my brother, or you are my relation, or you are my political party member. No. Let people, you've heard of people, for example, in the system who have been thriving, you know, to make a difference. Let me give you an example. In the case of the United States, when Barack Obama was the president, he contested with Hillary Clinton. Yeah. And by the time he won, he did not see Hillary Clinton as an enemy. But eventually appointed Hillary Clinton the Secretary of the State. That's what I'm trying to say. He knew that Hillary Clinton could do something, could deliver, and he brought out the best out of Hillary Clinton. You know, give people especially the young people, intelligent people, people in academics, give them the opportunity to bring out the best of this country and to save this country, even if it is for, just for a year or two. Unless if they don't perform well, you can as well change them or sack them.
All right, Mr. Isaac Asemuta, when we talk about setting an agenda for incoming ministers, you hear people tend to look at whether the person should be a politician or whether he should be a technocrat. Those are the two major things that you hear people talk about. As a matter of fact, some people have even gone ahead that politicians have failed us. This time, it has to be a technocrat. If you must be appointed as a minister in any of the federal ministry, it must be a technocrat. What's your take on this?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I want to pray that the president, our President Buhari, God will give him a sound mind and sound head. Because if he's not healthy, if he doesn't hear well, if he doesn't, his body is not good for him, he will not be able to observe those who are good for him to select for these positions. That's one thing. And two, these are the oppositions, the political opposition in this country, they have done almost 80% of this job for Buhari. Because when the first, during this is still ongoing now, his first tenure,
yeah.
Most of those ministers the Buhari appointed, that took him about 6 months before he appointed them, the people in the country have been blaming, complaining, why did you put this man, why did you put this man here? That's a pointer for him to know where to choose. Because if he would not like to repeat those type of people, he won't tell me that the president is not hearing what people are complaining about. Why did you put that minister there? This man has been alleged that he has been stealing money, he has been doing this, he has been doing that. Why did you put him there? These are the cries from the members of the public, and I'm sure from where he is, he's viewing all these people. That is an advantage to him. So for him now to get the right people to put there now, it will not be a very big problem for him if he has a clean mind not to make it a technical sort of appointment. And the issue of technocrat or what you politicians are saying, you see, there's one thing in politics. I am not a politician, but what I'm seeing from afar is that if you don't belong, you are not there. If you are a specialist in any position at all, and you don't have a sort of link to them as a politician, they will not appoint you, except you are a politician. You understand me now? If you don't have that, they will not appoint you. So what we now be praying is that you should look for people, like you have rightly said, to put the right peg in the right hole, not bringing the circle into the angular aspect of it. You will not get the actual results. Okay.
Now, Dr. Mizomonigo,
yes.
You see, this thing borders on experience, it borders on exposure, it borders on relevance, it borders on political relevance. We are talking about a government that is brought into power through political, exercise, politics and all that. Now, you hear a politician will say that, look, I cannot bring an opposition person into my government, because if you do, or if I do, it's going to run a parallel idea. An opposition person does not have the same idea. It does not even have this. It does not even believe in the same manifesto that my party does. So in this kind of world scenario, don't you think it's a huge challenge, for PMB in the second term?
Okay.
Because these persons we are talking about now, they may just be in the opposition parties.
That's fine. Now, you see, politics has gone beyond that in the developed countries. In fact, the scenario you just painted now is a kind of miniature politics. We should think out of the box, and we should stop being myopic, so to speak, about who is an opposition party or who is not in my. The thing is this: you identify an individual, and you know that this individual can give results, can bring out results, irrespective of the political affiliation of that person. Whether the person is in the opposition party or not, you set up an agenda. Or you ask the person to, bring out, of course they go for these interviews with the Senate, and then you tell the person, set up an agenda, this is my agenda, will you be able to fit into it? And then you monitor. But aside that, a question that comes to my mind when Mr. Ideyan was speaking was, do these people actually carry out an appraisal on themselves? From time to time, as a civil servants, we carry out appraisals, even as individuals, how far you've gone in an office given to you. I'm the head of department, of my department, and from time to time, I even call my colleagues to ask where I'm going wrong and where we are failing or our areas of strength. I think that this is the time for our president to sit down with his cabinet, the president cabinet, or even his special advisors, and carry out a kind of appraiser. Ask question, where have you failed? Look, a government where everybody, you are surrounded by people who are always clapping for you, that you are all correct, you know that you are in danger.
Are you suggesting that as Buhari looks forward towards the second term, that
yes,
he should still gather members of this cabinet and ask questions?
You know what? He knows people who are closest to him. People who should be able to tell him the truth. I was just trying to make a point that he should not surround himself with people who will just be applauding him at all times. He should be able to look for those who criticize him, even if they belong to the opposition party. You know, be able to get the feedback from the society, and from that set an agenda for himself for the second term. Let me tell you, Nigeria will become worse if he doesn't do that. If people are always praising him and applauding him for all that he's been doing, because I'm asking myself a question: does he really listen to the voice of the people, or does he really know that people are suffering? I don't think so, because
you cannot say so.
You know why I say so?
Madam,
he doesn't come to the streets.
Madam, you cannot say so.
That's my opinion, Mr. Evans.
But even at that, your opinion may not be comfortable with some people.
That's fine.
Yes.
Well, you see, the point I'm trying to make is this: that from time to time he needs to get feedback from the people. Now, for this present cabinet that will soon end, we'll be able to know areas where they have failed. And for a good leader, you should be able to know where you have failed and then try and correct those areas in your second term. Now that you have been given, I feel that this second term has been given to Buhari to make right whatever went wrong in the first term and to mop up every kind of loophole in the system. Now, you should be able now to look at those areas that failed. Let me give an example. In the area of agriculture, how well did we perform? Now, you can see it, you will be able to get the result by the economy, you know. Get figures. When you did not do well, and then you now ask questions, now that we failed in this, who do you think can deliver?
Are you saying that this government did not do in agriculture?
No, I wouldn't say that. You should be able to judge that by the kind of food on your table.
No, but I can have a say, so I leave that question to you.
You see, we have a say as citizens of this country.
Yeah, but on this program, I can have a say.
Oh, yes, but I'm just telling you that, you know, we can't shy away from the truth that we had, yes, that it was not becoming difficult for Nigerians, an average Nigerian, to feed 3 times a day in this country. Even as civil servants, it's becoming very, very difficult for civil servants to feed their children.
On what basis are you judging from the basis that once upon a time we almost lost counts of homegrown food?
Yes.
But now we have there are achievements. You have homegrown rice.
Homegrown rice, is it available? When last did you eat homegrown rice? Is it available, and at how much?
But it's in the market.
I'm talking as a Nigerian, and I'm talking as a civil servant. Now, I have my salary. You know our salary scale. And then at the beginning of this administration, you know how much a bag of rice cost and how much it costs now. Now, they said that the foreign rice was not available, that was why it was very, very expensive. And then we went to this Abakaliki rice. There is somebody who supplies that at Main Gates shopping complex there. And her bag of rice, of that homegrown rice, is 8,000 naira. They sell it in Uniben UBTH cooperative house. I'm just trying to tell you. So it's also very, very difficult. By the time you feed a family of six, you know, the half bag is gone. How much is the salary? 30,000 naira, and it has not been implemented. My brother, let's not go there. My point is this: how well have we done in agriculture? Have we been able to feed the country, and then talk about exporting? Because what we're supposed to be talking about now is having enough for the country and being able to export some to get money, funds for the economy. Now, the point I'm trying to make is, whatever area, whatever federal ministry has not done well, This is the time for appraiser. This is the time I expect the president to call out the ministers to give reports of their stewardship. And then, if they are telling lies, the facts are there. You go and check it out. Make public this account of their stewardship and let Nigerians react. Now, if Nigerians react and it's not in the favor of that minister, you find out that there was something wrong. Then you ask yourself, how did you appoint this person?
Now, let me come to Mr. Isaac Asemota. Now, the issue of age is something that some people also exercise concern over. You hear people say that, well, again, we also need to look at age as it relates to experience, age as it relates to relevance, you know, on the duty in question. Now, the issue of age is something that people talk about. For some people, now, if you're above a certain age, you cannot be a minister. But for some other people, you must be a certain age for you to have the required experience. So what's your take on that too? Okay. Because in this outgoing first term, there are one or two ministers that, you know, are far above 60, almost 70.
That's exactly what I said earlier. You see, I'm too sure that the president will be very happy for him to have come back for the second time. The reason is that that first term, which we are still in now, it was in a very serious problem. That's the way I'm seeing it. Serious problem in the sense that when they were doing elections, there are people who contributed money here and there. And it was his own duty now to satisfy them. And that is what will happen. That is why you see many negative, or the people that are not supposed to be there, they were all appointed. Are
you saying, is that what he did at the expense of Nigerians?
That is what he did. There's no doubt, but I don't hear, but I don't want to mention names of governors who paid a lot of money to sponsor his campaign.
Yeah, but those were allegations.
No, they were not allegations. They were even saying it, even on the other time when there was a problem between a governor and the APC government in some area in the east. I don't want to mention the exact state, but it has 3 letter words. That is the state. When he was saying that
you're talking about Imo State.
Okay,
I know it's but at times all this information are said to be allegations.
Okay, so he said, I have spent a lot for this administration during the campaign, and now people want to treat me this way. I will make sure all of us will go down at the same time. These are the areas I'm saying. People who helped, those that helped him to come into power during this election, he was finding it difficult not to appoint them. That was why you see, to me, he got many wrong hands into his government. So he's very happy now. The second term, nobody is now coming to say, because there's no doubt during this his first time he must have been able to acquire money in any way, either through official or other way to help himself for this election. But the issue of saying, I was the person who made it possible for you to win this election, is no longer there, so you will not have such problems. So issue of age, that may have affected the age in appointing ministers or other people during that this first term. So this time around, you will not have that problem, because nobody will come and say, because during the time they are doing election, I'm not too well, they will just sit down as we are sitting now. I will help you to bring some amount of money, but this, what are you going to do? It's okay, I will make you a minister. He must have promised many people all these things. And by the time he was not doing all this appointment, if he cannot go to that place, he will have problem. Now he has been able to clear all those problems away. The second term now, you will see, I am foreseeing a very good ministerial appointments, because this time around nobody will come and say he's going to do the right thing now, because like I said before, the opposition have been telling him this is what you are supposed to do. All good Nigerians, good-minded Nigerians have been telling him this is what you are supposed to do to make this country go well with us. Now that it's not in the second term, it's going to take his time. And moreover, in the first term, he was not too sound, and I'm sure he's very sound now. Issue of person now hijacking or they call Kaba, now taking decision for him will not be this time. But most of these people you are seeing may have been imposed on him. Okay.
Now, Doctor, just before quickly before we move on to the next topic, of the day, state of the nation, internal, security in focus. Now, as we set agenda for this coming ministers, where can we start from? Which of the ministries can we start from? We have Ministry of Interior, where the borders on security issue. Yes. We have Federal Ministry of Agriculture, where borders on what you talk about food availability and all that. So where do you think PMB will start from?
You see, I'll just talk about the 3 major things that are going so wrong in the country, which you have just mentioned one. One is security. So we should look seriously, because our major
internal security.
Internal security, we should talk about the Minister of Defense. You know, the qualities, what we expect of the Minister of Defense.
What are your own qualities? What do you expect?
Okay, thank you for that. You know, I've been thinking about this, and I try to liken it up with the developed countries. And I say, if you must choose one as a Minister of Defense, forget about the fact that the person is either a northerner, a southerner, a westerner. It shouldn't be about ethnicity. It should be about somebody who is genuinely concerned about the security of this nation. And not only that, somebody who is at alert. Because when you talk about being Minister of Defense, and you are there wearing agbada, you know, up and down, and then you just sit down in your parlor and you give command, you don't go around to check exactly what is happening in your ministries. There's a problem. So we must look for trained people, not old people, sir, not people who are retired, possibly people who are still in service, who have dedicated and who have fought for the security of this nation, people who have great ideas, people who have gone outside the country for training, people who have great qualifications. Not only, we're not talking about secondary school holders there, we're talking about graduates, people who have studied and who know so much about security. You can't tell me that you just bring somebody, maybe bring a French graduate like me to come and be Minister of Education. No, that is putting a round peg in a square hole. You should be able to look for trained people who are conscious, security conscious. That is one. And then talking about education, you see, education covers a lot of things. I believe that if Nigerians are educated, if 90% of Nigerian youths are educated, and not just have baked education, given a good education, most of these problems will be reduced. Okay. I quickly want to talk about this problem of alimanjiri in the north. In the north, we have a lot of uneducated youths. So if we have a Minister of Education who is concerned about the education of the young people, let me give an example. A country as small as Ghana has put, you know, a law down that it is compulsory for every child between the age of 3 to 17 to be educated, to get basic education, and the government is funding it. And the government forces parents to make the children available for this. We also have that case in Mali. We have it in Chad, because those are the areas I teach them in my department. Some of these francophone countries have made it very, very compulsory. Algeria is another country like that. That between the ages of 3 years and 17, you must be educated. So when you educate youth like that, tell me why they will not aspire to be great in life, without putting their eyes or focusing their eyes on serving politicians, or being boy politicians. All right. And lastly, I want to talk about the Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment. We need to build up our GDP. We need to build up our economy. Our economy is crumbling, fast crumbling. Let me tell you, we still have some crumbs to eat now, but in the next 2-3 years, I don't know what we are going to be feeding.
All right, so you are setting your agenda from the Minister of Defense, Education,
yes, and Industry, Trade and Investment.
All right, thank you so much. Now, let's look at the second topic for today, the state of the nation, the issue of insecurity. Now, if you go through some of the papers, like what I did this morning, you would have read, I just picked 1 or 2 headlines. You know, very, very disturbing headlines. There's the one that reads that we are helpless. IG tells Senate. Federal government inaugurates Committee on Internal Security, Community Policing. And also there's this other one that has been on for some days now, talking about the herdsmen. Yes. You know, herdsmen displaced 680,000, you know, destroyed 400 billion naira property. And that has happened in Benue State for the past months. That's a recent release from the Governor Otom of Benue State. And there's this other one, you know, very, very disturbing. This a recent allegation of federal government giving armed bandits, that's a Miyati armed bandits now, or Mayati Allah, the way the allegation has come on, Mayati Allah Cattle Rearer Association, 100 billion naira to stop kidnapping or set up a cattle ranch. These are allegations, and these are some of the headlines that this particular one, this fourth one, the allegation of federal government giving 100 billion naira to Mayati Allah is an allegation. But most disturbing are some of the headlines that I've read a while ago. Now, all this points to the recent insecurity in our country. I don't understand what is going on. And that's the reason I particularly brought Mr. Isaac Asemota on this platform today, because he's a security expert. And I think he's going to give us some suggestions. So, Mr. Isaac, will you welcome one more time? Now, sir, what do you think is going on? What is the problem?
Thank you very much. This insecurity, it starts from individual homes, just like what they say, charity begins and it doesn't end there. It starts from husband and wife house. They are managing themselves to cook and feed the family. At the end of the month, waiting for the month to end so that they get money. As soon as the month ends and the husband gets money, instead of coming home to come and supplement what is on the ground to enable them move forward to the next month, the man, instead of going for his needs, he now goes for his wants and start drinking and come home drunk. There's a problem between the man and the wife. That is insecurity on his own part. If you move from there, you move from the house now to individual villages and communities. You will see some villages now, they sell most of their lands and all these things. Instead of them to use that money now to invest, to help the community people, they will now make themselves to be riding big vehicles and building big houses, and other people are suffering. What stops you from buying 1 or 2 or 3 vehicles in the name of the community, and when the people will drive that motor will come from the community, then you are making an employment. The money that will come out, maybe you have a lot of money, you now give out to many of the students there, you give them scholarship. That's another thing. If you don't do that one, that they now see you are going alone, there's insecurity there. You'll be seeing somebody killing another for one reason or the other. You from there go again, you get to a family level where maybe a man has a wife or 2 or 3 wives, the man died and they are sharing property because of preference from the Okaigbe, we used to call it in our language, that the head of the family would not take care of sharing the property because of preference. You now give everything to one person, the other person go around and said, I've been aggrieved. If you people say you won't give me, I know what to do, and started killing each other.
Now let's take this discussion above this now. On the national level, you know what is going on?
Yes, that is what I'm saying. I'm going and ascending order.
All right.
Because it goes from one step to the other. Now you go to the state level now. You see, of recent, if you don't know, I will tell you, and it's 90% correct. Any of these villages, if you go there, not all the chiefs or the elders there, 80% of them, from these herdsmen now, if they bring cow, the moment that cow is about 6 months or so, they will not call any of the, maybe not all the chiefs anyway, but those who are involved, they are aware of it. They will not call, they bring 10,000, this cow is your own. Anytime that cow delivers again, it belongs to, before you know it, in 4 or 5 years time, that man is having about 10 cows. And when that cows go into another neighbor's farm to go and eat, you bring this matter to the village for them to discuss. Nobody will give you the
audience.
The audience. So you will not be aggrieved, and they will be killing here and there. Of recent, there was killing between the herdsmen and a community somewhere in Benin here, in Edo State, not in Benin particularly, along Odo Road.
There was one in Odigwetwe, yeah.
Exactly, that is the area I'm actually making a point.
Yes.
Now, the governor went there and said, okay, this killing should stop. The herdsmen, I give you 90 days to leave this place. You go somewhere else. Let us have time to settle this matter. The herdsmen refused to go. They said they will not go. Somebody must have phoned them. Don't go anywhere. This is your country. Why will people not revenge? Why will there not be insecurity?
Now, I think we also need to be careful here, because when we use the word herdsmen, now I do know of herdsmen that legally they do their herding. I mean, they take their cattle from one place to another and without hurting a fly. And of course, you also have some that go about, they foment trouble, they look for trouble and all that. So the problem is there seems to be a very complicated issue here.
And that's what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
You see, the problem of insecurity in Nigeria is, whether we like it or not, and whether you accept it or not on set, Mr. Evans, is a product of failed governance. Is a product of the failure in our government. Why do I use the word of failure? It builds up, gradually, like he said. When you don't engage youths, when youths are unemployed.
Now, when you say the
and I do mind is a devil worship. Just cool down.
But I also need to quickly say something here. When you say failed government, does it mean that what government is doing? We
don't have we do not have policies that give room for youths to be trained and for youths to be engaged. And most of these people who are perpetrating these acts of insecurity are youths. And so when you get them busy, for crying out loud, when you are in the office and then they earn salaries and they are comfortable, it will be difficult for them. They won't even have time to strategize to go to the streets to kill people. Wait, then when you have policies as well and you don't implement these policies, it's as good as not having any policy at all. That is why I started with the fact that it's a consequence of failed government. We have illiteracy here and there. Look, let me tell you, I served in Katsina State. And when I served in Katsina State, sir, we had a lot of alimanjiri. In fact, we had 90% of people in Katsina as alimanjiri. They were all around. And these small boys all around, running in our orientation camp, they were even scared. I'm sure then they didn't know about bombing, they didn't know about raping people. I'm sure they would have even done a lot of harm to us, because the place, our orientation camp was not fenced. Now they know better, and that is why you see that the thing is, crime is thriving, most especially in the north. We also have, look, when you don't prosecute people who commit crimes. This thing started gradually in Nigeria, these killer headsmen. When we were talking about headsmen, I call them killer headsmen, because like you said, there may be some that are not killers, but we have majority now.
So we have some, yeah. Some
who are killers. Now, these killer headsmen, when they first started, it was like, a kind of conflict between farmers and they were not prosecuted. They weren't prosecuted. So they tested it and found out that, we are covered, and they did it again. They killed more. And they were still not prosecuted. They killed more. And when the people tried to retaliate, if you remember, when the people tried to retaliate, the farmers tried to kill them back, those farmers were arrested. And what we heard from our government was that we shouldn't provoke these headsmen, that we should try as much as possible not to provoke them. My brother, that is the height of it in this country.
Okay. Now
when you do that, look, let me tell you, like a child, you have a child at home. When a child wants to do something bad, he will be looking at you, checking you out whether he will talk. Maybe he will just play with this your tablet. When daddy doesn't say anything, he will collect it. When you don't say it, just say, stop it. You stop it, but you don't do anything. Before you know it, the child will buy a game, will download the game. Give me my set, and then you leave it again. You say, daddy will not say anything, we just only shout. The child will go, and he will download free one. Next time he will buy with money and everything, and that time will have got out of hand. Or you will open your password, and that is how these people started.
Okay. Now, Mr. Isaac, I just want, because of time now. Now, what is your reaction on the president's allegation making the rounds that the federal government has given 100 billion to Miyetti Allah to stop the armed banditry and kidnapping in the northeast, in the northern parts of the country, and in some other parts of the country? But that is on one side. The other side of it is that it is not actually to stop, but to get a ranch for their cattle. Why, on the part of the federal government, the statement is that it is a lie. There's nothing like that. So what is your take on that? How do you react to that?
If it's, like you said, say it's an allegation, is it the first time they are doing it? It's not the first time, even though we are calling it allegation. When the Boko Haram people were arrested, they were detained. By the time they now arrested, they kidnapped our Chibok girls, many of these, the Boko Harams in detention, they were released. Most of their captains, their commanders, many of them were released. And many a time, you can, if you remember vividly, during that Chibok girls issue, millions or billions of naira were spent in exchange of those people to be released. So if they are doing it now, it's not a new thing. They have been doing it.
But this kind of negotiation, terms of negotiation, you give me money, I stop this, you release some of my prisoners, I stop this. Where can we go from here?
The crime will continue to thrive. Another militia group will come up. They will say, if this group was able to do that, let me tell you, I will start from Obasanjo. If you remember when there was a problem somewhere in Rivers State, Obasanjo did something and Nigerians were like, why did he do that? You know, yes, he went and, you know, he raised down the place, both the good and the bad. Now, when Jonathan came on board and there was this militant, you know, it was even Yaradua. From Yaradua, they now gave amnesty. When they gave amnesty, of course, it reduced, the kidnap of expatriates reduced in the Niger Delta. But somewhere along the line, some other groups picked it up, that if these people were not punished,
can negotiate
yeah,
with
they can negotiate with, let's start this Boko Haram something. And that was how Boko Haram started. And when Boko Haram started, nothing done up till now. You can, look, let me tell you, my brother, if you cannot, like what I love the honesty of the IGP yesterday when he said, look, this thing is beyond us, but we are going to try. If you are failing and you know that you don't have enough hands, why? Nigeria's security issue is now more than what the country can handle. We need international help. We need to bring people into this country to help us solve this problem once and for all. Even when you are negotiating, with militia groups like this, there are experts, there are people who are trained to negotiate with them. Okay, now this backyard giving of money, whether it is true or it is not, like what Mr. Semuta said before. You see, we have had cases like this where they will give money and they will deny it. All right, now, but my point is, whether it is true or it is not, it should not longer be.
All right, now, Mr. Semuta, I just need you 1 minute to quickly respond. Now, is it professional? The IGP yesterday before the Senate, you know, owned up that the Nigeria police does not have enough personnel, does not have enough equipment and all that. Is it professional for a trained policeman to do that? That is one. Then secondly, you are a security expert, a private security expert. We have so many private security, you know, agents here and there. On their own beats, it appears they are not doing anything. I mean, because some of these things are things that would have been curbed even by organizations, you know, private organizations.
What the IG said was very right.
Is it professional?
It's very, very professional. Right from time of Babangida, when these anti-riot vehicles were brought to Nigerian police, they thought there was something military in it. They seized, Babangida seized all those weapons for them. That was in the PMF then, the police mobile force then. Yeah. If you see, look at the total number of policemen, and they have reduced drastically. They are not employing, and there are no weapons, no ammunition. The one they are having now is they are managing with it. Go to divisions and you see the numbers of weapons they are having. It's good that he should come and say the truth. If they don't like, they say if truth is a bitter pill, it has to be swallowed. No. So it's good he said
just the other question now, yes. Private security agents and all that.
Yes, that is the private security agents. They are doing their best to ensure that security strives very well in the country. The only thing they will need now to assist them is to ensure the ones that are well trained are armed to further enhance their the proficiency.
And some say the policies that government, the condition of you know, service for you guys to operate is not favorable. Is that true?
Is that what?
The policies, the conditions that government give for people to operate is not favorable.
It's not favorable, but what can you do? It's in everywhere. The condition they will give you is something you cannot meet up, but you have to do something to move on.
All right.
Mr. Eva, let me just quickly say this. That that you need to take this issue of insecurity again. When you're talking about a major issue like this, it's not something we should do in a hurry.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much. That's all time will permit us to take. Dr. Mr. Monigo, it's a lecturer with the University of Benin, and also Mr. Isaac Asemota, a security expert in Benin and in Edo State here. Thank you so much for.
Thank you very much.
Stay tuned.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.